Hey there, this is Donna from Donna's Creative Space. It is Friday, so I'm here for a Fun Fold Friday. Today I'm making this card. It is called a pop-out card because you can kind of see the little image pop out from the circle. It looks a little harder than it really is, and I'm going to walk you through it and show you how easy it is to make. So what I'm using is the layered, the layered circle dies that we have. They come in a set of 16. You get 8 straight edged and 8 scallop edges, scallop circles. And let's see, what I'm using for a stamp set today is the Tasteful Touches stamp set. Now this stamp set does come with some dies, and they are called the Tasteful label dies, and they have some really nice dies in here, but I am using the circle dies for this, and I stamped right directly on the Designer Series paper. Now if you didn't want to stamp a sentiment on the Designer Series paper, this one or this, anything skinny would go great down here. Just have to work it out with whatever shape you want. So I use the flower die, and the flower stamp, and just saying hello, and in the inside I put this leafy flowery thing. I colored it in, and You Are So Special. So you will need, let's see, what else did I use? I used petal pink and gray granite for my cardstock, and I'm using, this is all cut up, but this is the Peony Garden Designer Series paper, and I just love the grays and pinks together, so I thought I'd do that for you today. So you will need your paper trimmer, and you will need a scoring tool. So let's get started. I will tell you what you need. I'm going to put this aside. I have all my stamps ready to go. I'm using basic gray ink. I'm using the Petal Pink combo set of Stampin' blends, the dark and the light together. I've got my Wink Stellar, I've got a bone fold, I've got some pearls for decoration, and some of our Whisper White crinkle ribbon. I also have some glue dots and the 3 circle dies that we will need. So let's start out with the circle dies, and I'm going to measure them for you. Now these aren't exact measurements. I'm going to measure so you know how to pick them out of your set, right? I'm going to measure the inside. The inside, let's start with the smallest one. The very inside of this is 2 1/8. Then the next size circle is 2 3/8. And I'm measuring from the inside again, from where it will cut. And this is, let's see, I would say from the edge of the scallop to the other side, I'd say I'd say that's 2 3/4 for the scallop. Okay? So so that's all the tools and ink and stuff that you need. Of course, you'll need your scissors. You're going to need some liquid glue and some adhesive. All right, let's get to this card. So for this, here's what you need. You need your cardstock base. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. Then we need another coordinating cardstock. This is 5 by 8. I haven't scored it yet. I'm going to score it with you. I saved that to work with you. Now I call these card mats because when it's just a plain piece of paper, one solid sheet that's going on the front of a card or the inside. So you need a Designer Series paper that is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then you need 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 5. Okay, we need a scrap of Whisper White and a scrap of gray granite. Now these pieces are going to be used to cut out the your dies. So as long as your smallest circle will fit on the white and the two others will fit on your gray. That's how big they need to be. So mine's about 3.5. I take that back. Let me see what it is. Yeah, 3.5. But didn't I tell you? I'm not sure if I told. Did I tell you the right amount for measurement? This was 2 3/4, or did I say 3 3/4? It's 2 3/4 if I said it incorrectly. So as long as you're nesting dies, now these are called the layering circles because you can nest them. Okay, so. And then we need, for our inside Whisper White, this is 3 3/4 by 5, so it's a little smaller, just a 1/4 inch smaller than our bigger one. Okay, so let me get rid of our embellishments for now. Don't want to lose anything. So let's do some stamping. So we're going to stamp our sentiment on here, and I've got a scrap of grid paper. So let's see. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm using the basic gray. Now, on the front of this, I wanted, I had started using the gray granite to match. This is gray granite, but it just came out too light on the designer series paper. So I switched it to the gray, the basic gray. So let's see. So because there's not a lot of different colors, I think the solid stamping of this, the stamping right on the designer series paper is fine to do. So I'm going to try to stamp this as straight as possible in this bottom left corner. Okay, and then I'll put that aside, and I'm going to stamp my flower in the center of this scrap piece of white. But I'm going to stamp off because it's really dark with the basic gray, so I'm going to stamp off some ink, and then I'll stamp my flower. Just like that. All right. And let's see what else. Now we need our inside piece. So our inside, I think, I stamped off for the flower, for this. I stamped off, so I stamped off for both images and put this in the bottom left corner. And then for the sentiment, I stamped full strength. I did not stamp off. Okay. All right, so that's all the inking. I'm going to put my ink away. One less thing in the way. Okay, so we're going to color this with our Stampin' blends, and I am going to, let's see, what I like to do is I like to start with the darker color. So I'm going to just put some dark petal pink down where I think it should be. I kind of follow along with the Stampin' Up! Where they put these kind of shading lines, because that kind of helps you. It kind of tells you, you know, they've already figured it out for you. And with flowers and, you know, petals and things, obviously if a petal is underneath another petal, it may cause a little bit of a shadow. And so in between petals is a good idea to put the darker. And then I come in with the lighter color, and I'm doing the rest. And I'm not rubbing really hard. I'm using the brush tip of these stamping blends. And I don't know if you're like me, but I absolutely love to color. So this I find relaxing. Even though this is only 2 colors, I just find this relaxing to color. So I can't wait to I'm doing my holiday card class. Ideas are coming out, and it's going to be a to-go class since I can't have it in person, and I'm going to, one of the stamps that we're going to be using is the gnomes. I think it's gnome for the holidays. And I'm going to go back in with a little bit of dark just to kind of get those spots that I wanted darker. So I can't wait to color in all the gnomes because those are a little cute little fun image. Okay, so the coloring is done. So I'm going to do one more thing before I pull in my Stampin' Cut machine. We want to put this on the front of our card base. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my bone folder and crease this side. Okay, and now we're gonna put this down in place, and when we're gonna end up cutting a circle in this area here. So we don't want glue to be in that area, or adhesive. So I'm gonna take my adhesive runner and get it started, and I'm gonna put adhesive on the 4 sides. Get rid of that since we're done inking. And then I'm going to put adhesive on the bottom half. Okay, and now I'm just putting this centered on my card front, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to cut a few things with the cut and emboss machine, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Get the name right. It's our new machine from Stampin' Up. And, well, you know what, while we have this here, why don't we do our scoring for this? So like I said, this is 5 inches by 8 inches. And what you want to do is you want to score in 2 spots. We want to score at 4. So let me see, am I in the, yes I am in the image. So I'm going to score at 4. And then I'm going to score at 6. Which is 2 inches from this end, just like that. So we have it 4 inches, and then we go over 2 more inches. So we have 2, 2, 4 is the segments that we have. So now I can get rid of this, because we're all done with that. And now I shall pull in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So we need our sandwiching done. So we want our number 1 plate, we want our number 2 plate, 1 number 3, and we do have a second number 3 to go on top. But let's first cut out our scallop and the larger of the 2 circles. They fit right in together, just like that. And I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to run it through. And usually I do this kind of thing ahead of time, but I wanted to show you guys. You can't see I'm cranking it, but what a nice way. And this, I love that it's compact. So we have a circle, and we have our scallop ring, okay? I'm going to put those 2 things away. This is just trash unless you want to use it for something else. And I'm going to bring this back over here. Now what we want to do is, with the, well, let's see, with the inside of this, the inside piece that you just cut, we want, the inside circle, I'm sorry, not piece, the inside circle, you want to lay it on your piece here and get it right about centered where you want it. And then you're going to take your other number 3 and put it right on top. I'm going to cut right through the designer series paper and the cardstock, and I'm gonna crank it backwards. Okay. And this, we could use it for something else, and it should be separate. See how it separates? I'm going to put that aside. I don't want to get it confused. So there's our circle, right? And now the last thing that needs to be cut is our flower. So I'm going to take the smaller of the circle, and you can do this with any size circles as long as you have them all fitting. You need a smaller one for your image, and then the 2 that fit between the scallop and the other one. Okay. And then we have our flower. And so now what I like about this is we just fold it up and put it away. That's what I like about this. So, okay now. So let's get back to this. So one of the things I'm going to do is I have my silicone pad here that I really like to use. I am going to use my liquid glue, and I'm going to glue this to our gray circle, just like so. Oops. And that's the thing about this liquid glue, you have some time for wiggle room. And remember, this is going to fit right inside that because we cut it out. All right. So now this is sorry, I get a little sidetracked. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to fold this in half on that center crease, and then I'm going to fold this one back like so. Earlier, I'm trying to think, I think that when I was telling you the measurements for this piece, I think I said 5 inches, but this is actually 5 1/4 by 8. Maybe I said it right, I'm not sure, but it's 5 1/4 by 8, scored at 4 1/4, scored at 2, so we have 2 inches, 2 inches, and then 4 inches. But like I said, I'll have all the measurements on my website. Okay, so now let's see, we're going to put this down on the inside of our card, and so I'm just putting some adhesive on the back, and it's probably easiest just to fold this, and I'm going to center this inside my card like so. All right, and now while we're at it, we're going to take our 1 3/4 inch 1 3/4 inches by 5 inches, and they're going to go right into these 2 panel sections. I realize that I'm probably out of the camera, the view, quite often because I really have to adjust where my camera from up above is showing down, because this is probably where I should be working, but I'm so used to working right directly in front of me. So there is our inside. And now, for this one, I put away the Stampin' blends. All I did on this one here is I just took, this is actually, it doesn't really matter, but this is the dark petal pink, and I don't know whether these were leaves or flower blossoms, and I wanted to add a little bit of color to this, so I made them. I made the decision. I made an executive decision and made them blossoms, so I colored them in with pink. I guess this one could be colored too, just to add a little bit of color to the card. And now I can put this on the inside. Right, so this is going to go on the inside, just like that. Okay, now we have to do this part. We can't forget about this part. First let's do this part. So I'm going to take my silicone mat back. If you don't have one of these, they're not that expensive, and they're really good for when you're doing something like this for gluing. So first I'm going to use the liquid glue again on this. So I'm going to put a little bead very lightly, because you don't want it to squeeze out the sides. So I just go around with that. The tricky part is picking it up. See, that's going to rub off. I could let that dry and it's going to rub off. So we're going to put this right around the edge of this. And you just want to line up the edge, right? And it should fit exactly, because we cut out the centerpiece with that inside piece, just like that. Okay, so our front's done. Now we have to put on this piece. So I'm going to use the glue again for this piece, and it's going to sit right in here. Whoops, I didn't wait long enough. I pulled up my, let's hold that down. I'm going to, just so that I don't mess up, I'm going to use a piece of scrap. Oh, this is from my, I've been working on my, this is the cutout from one of the leaf dies from the Love of Leaves, which, hey, I should pull this down in here. This is the information on my card class this month. Let's see if I put it right about there. I'm using the, I'm using the Love of Leaves. I'm using the Love of Leaves stamp set and the dies, and I think that I did advertise it on my, I sent out an email. But, so, if you shop with me and spend $25 between September 1st and September 20th, you can get my Love of Leaves card kit for free. I do that so that you could, okay, back to this, so that you just place an order. It doesn't have to be for what the card kits are made out of. It just has to be, you know, you just spend the money. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to put some glue on this. And like I said, I got a little bit of sidetracked about this piece here. But I just put that in there so that it would be like a, just in case I didn't want to get glue on the front of my card. So that's just, you don't want to touch the edge, but you want to go as far over. And then you put this right on the center. And I'm going to hold that in place for a second. Glue takes a little bit to dry, but you can go ahead and hold it in place and then move it. So, let's see. So let's open that up. Press that down. Little glue squeaking out, but that's fine. So we can let that dry. And there's our card. Isn't it kind of neat? So then I took some crinkle ribbon. While that dries, we'll let that dry there. In fact, this is what I'm going to, just going to put that down. And what do I have anything heavy that I can put on this? Well, I guess the stamp set for now. Just let that sit there. So I'm going to tie a little bow with this crinkle ribbon. And I love this crinkle ribbon because it's crinkled so that it already looks messy. So if you're a little messy making a bow, it really doesn't matter that much. So I just pull the two ends to make it the size I want. Get my loops a little better there. And pull it tight. Okay, so there I have my bow. And I'm going to just snip it off of the spool. Okay. So now we just need a glue dot for this bow. Oh, I don't want to forget to put my the Wink of Stella. So let me do this. Let me get this bow on here. I just put it off to the side like that. Right, and I don't want this. I like to cut the ends at an angle. Oops. Like that. And now we want to use our Wink of Stella brush. If you don't have one of these, this is, and you don't know what it is, Wink of Stella, this is a, like a brush, glitter brush, I would say. And you can, this one happens to be clear, and I'll squeeze it so you can see, if you can see the ink or the glitter, the liquid glitter in there that comes out the tip, and you just brush it to whatever you want to add a little glitter to. So I'm gonna do my flower, and what I like about this is it kind of perks up that pink, makes it a little darker, kind of gives it a little life. So I'm just doing all around like so. Let me get the, and now that's going to have to dry. So I will get my pearls. I put a couple of pearls, and I didn't use the two bigger ones, but I just put a couple up here. And let's see, I think I put, whoops, that one dropped, and one over here. And there you have it. Now mine, I want to be careful because my glitter is still, my Wink Stella. Oops, I think I got a little drop there. My Wink Stella is still wet, but I'll open it carefully so you can see. Isn't that a great fun fold? So I'm glad you joined me today for another Fun Fold Friday. And I will have the measurements on my blog, donnascreativespace.com, so you can get all the measurements for this. And I hope you enjoyed this class, this little, our Fun Fold Friday video. So that was it, and we have the one I made earlier, and then this one, and here we have it. So thanks for watching.